What's up, everybody? It has been a while since I've come to you, and you can probably tell from my bags under my eyes that I am tired. I don't know if it's home ownership or whatever, but just working hard. Anyway, I'm gonna work harder at TunedMercedes too. Make some more videos. So, as you can see behind me, from some more popular YouTuber, right? Mercedes-Benz has come out with a C43, and they announced it. It's going to have the engine of the GLA 45, which Eurocharge Boston guys have said this works great. Bajas and Sarah, thanks so much for being part of the TunedMercedes community. Appreciate all your info that you give out to people. And basically, what's new about this engine, though, and confirmed by them too, is that the turbocharger now spools electronically in addition to the normal turbocharger, which uses exhaust, fume, heat to power a turbine, to force more air into your car. So you still get that extra, effect of getting more and more horsepower, like actually developing more horsepower, but you have not as much turbo lag. And this is traditionally one of the things that have kept people from throwing in huge turbos into small, displacement cars on streets, street type cars, is, because the drivability would kind of suck, unless you kept it really high revving all day, right? So this does a huge, this should be a huge step. They do use this technology in, I think, F1. I believe the inline 6 also has a version of this too. I think what we'll probably see at some point is maybe a turbo battery charger, where a turbine type of battery charger, or I think they try with kinetic energy. But this is a really cool step. This is really practical. It's not like me just thinking of oh yeah, this is a great idea. No, I mean, this is a good idea. This is actually a good idea. I think the eco start bullshit is probably a terrible idea. So when something's actually a good idea in this day and age, I think you have to get excited about it. That being said, there are a lot of people who are sad about this car because it had a beloved, previous rendition of it. This car could be really quick with just a tune. 0 to 60s were great. Rolling speed is what really started to separate a tuned 63C versus a C43. Even then the C43 could keep up really well until you went big turbos or, methanol or something like that. So this is a great engine. A lot of people really like it. It's got a lot of fans. People are going to miss it too, So that's one of the things that people are sad about, is that not only is this a good engine like in the GLE or whatever, but this was a good pairing for this car. I drove a GLC 43 AMG, and I thought it was very quick off the line. It could challenge a V8 Mercedes in that for sure. I thought my car felt an M278 CLS 550 with about 500 horsepower, maybe closer to 600, somewhere in that range, right? I think that my car felt a little faster, and my car also has a TCU tune, so it's an ECU tune and TCU tune, and it's got high flow, MagnaFlow, but street legal cats, 200 cell cats, and I thought the C43 launched really well, and it was only in kind of rolling power that you could feel the difference. But in a car like the C43 versus a GLC, I think you're saving probably a little bit of weight. And although the new GLC 63 is super fast, that has, I believe, a different engine setup than the C43 or 63. So the C43 was a really nice option for people, and losing the V6 twin turbo, I think is sad, and then losing it in this option is also sad. But as I'll go over the comments next, I think a lot of people are saying, hey, we know that the future is this, and this is a pretty reasonable step. I mean, they could have come up with a lot worse than this, right? But yeah, because in theory we could get really high powered engines, like the Corsa 9 gig. I don't know how you pronounce that word. But like their brand, they've got like a 3-cylinder 600 horsepower engine, and it's called like the Mighty Mini or something. I don't know what they called it, but basically if you use a small displacement engine, internal combustion, and combine it with big turbos with like maybe some sort of kinetic energy recuperation system like on your brakes or whatever, so you can really charge these turbos like with at least 48 volts, but maybe we'll see 96 volts in the future or something like that too. These turbos are real now. They spin up really fast. They're really good options, and I think that if we let this continue to progress for a couple of generations, we could see some cars that have excellent MPA or MPGs or whatever, and also would be fun still, because it wouldn't just feel like the throttle response would be linear. It would be exciting to drive this, versus just something that felt like it had a huge turbo and a ton of turbo lag. All right, guys, I'm gonna go over the comments next. Really good comment here, but let's start with this first comment. Sebastian PA said, "I can't believe what they're doing," or it's sad to see what they're doing. Mac Rocks responded, and one of the things I thought was really interesting was, Steven Christel said, this is not Mercedes doing. Mercedes would really, probably want to build big naturally aspirated engines, but this is something that, emissions are requiring. And so it's kind of interesting, but Bo Vance mentioned, they haven't stopped production of their V8s. They have a new V8 with an electric turbocharger making over 1,000 feet of horsepower torque, and their GT63. It's not Mercedes' fault that they're doing this. Fong Nugent said, "I think it has conventional turbos with an electric motor connected to the rear end." That'd be a really good question. Now, we know that the 53 has, or I know that they had these electrically assisted turbos, and the reason why they're cool is because they generate power, but they don't have turbo lag. So you could have theoretically gigantic turbos and really small, tightly built engines that can generate a lot of power, and sort of do so in a way that feels good. It wouldn't just be like hitting a wall. Jeff said, don't blame Mercedes, blame government regulations. Other people have said that, right? Joe Spencer, he had a couple really great comments. He said, this is what I kind of was talking about in the video. A Civic Type R isn't going to beat a Hellcat or an AMG C-Class. Its front-wheel drive makes 100 less horsepower than the new C43 and finishes the quarter mile about 2 seconds slower than either car. The C43 seems like a better compromise between performance and gas savings. Plus, it's a Benz, so you get that sweet new C-Class interior. And then, we talked about how we want to have like an AMG that could beat a Tesla if they're going to go all electric. I would like to see them continue to make gas engines because they're starting to make some very cool engines. Very interesting engines. And let's see. I think part of the reason why there's such a pushback is because the 3.0 V6 bi-turbo was a really nice engine. People really liked them. They had pretty big turbos. They tuned well. And I don't mean by like big turbos in the grand scheme of things, but you know, I think they were big for Mercedes at that time. Like maybe the 63 had a bigger turbo, maybe the 550, but I kind of think they had a little bit bigger turbos, which helped them go fast because they tuned up pretty well. You really needed to stage three a 63 of comparable year to really start to pull away in dramatic fashion from a tuned C43 AMG. So I would like them. That's a really, really good point, Bradley. I would like to see Mercedes offer a 53 C with a V6 with turbos. I think it's just, you know, such a nice car. Maybe they're already not going to do that because of, you know, prior announcements, but I would really like to see a turbo V6 or an i6 in this car. All right, well, please, you know, add your voice here or below, and thank you for watching.